Supported Jazz Radio. Tadd Dameron up next from a CD called Tadd Dameron and His Orchestra. This is entitled Look.
Portland police are cracking down on Occupy Portland. They caught somebody selling pot out in the open. Ooh. Can't let that happen. Not in the land of freedom and democracy. No, we can't let anybody do something like that. Could erode our democracy and freedom. Sounds like. Look how great it is today. Yesterday was so beautiful. Today is gray. Back to gray. And not, at least it's not cold. It's kind of balmy. Make our way up Burnside Hill. And what's news today? I got my 15-year safety pin, so I'll give myself a pat on the back and say congratulations to me for saving TriMet tens and tens of thousands of dollars in fees that they'd have to pay if I was to crash that bus or, heaven forbid, kill people. And you know what I got for the 15 years? I got a $50 savings bond. Woohoo! Well, I guess it's better than nothing, right? But really, when you do a very safe job and you consider how much money I'm not costing the company, that should get some kind of financial reward. Considering the fact that bad operators cost the company an exorbitant amount of money, millions, you know, when you get a bad operator. So the good operators are saving the company millions, but we don't get anything for it. So, I mean, I don't really care, other than they used to give, well, they give money for the Superior Performance Award. Well, I can't qualify for that because I actually don't believe in coming to work sick. I will use sick time. They created sick time so you don't have to come to work sick. And I know people who will come to work no matter what they feel like. And personally, I think that's just damn crazy. Okay, that's my personal opinion. If you're not feeling up to it, or there's some kind of especially in a job like this, you know, this is not the kind of job you do. If you're not feeling well, I mean, there's just people's lives are on the line here. Hey, 20 bucks. Here we go down our. Boy, this is so much nicer to go this way than over the highway. It's calm. Actually, the speed limit is 25 here. Nobody goes 25. I mean, right now I'm going fairly reasonably at 30. At 20 miles an hour, really, it shouldn't be dangerous for bicyclists or anybody else, but people come whipping around this road so fast. So yeah, and then, you know, if there was a question about complaints, you know, I've had about 4, I think, you know, in my career. None of them have been about my behavior towards customers. It's not like, oh, he was rude or he did this, or no, none of that was. One of them I remember was because a passenger thought there were these guys in the bus and they were kind of like whistling at this girl, and I did get them to stop. It wasn't a big deal, you know. They were like, woo woo woo, she cute. And so I finally asked them to please not do that, and they stopped. And a complaint came in that I didn't throw them off the bus. I should have thrown them off the bus. Sorry, but I don't throw people off the bus for that. Okay, that is not a reason to throw anybody off the bus. And especially since they stopped, and it was harmless little, you know, whistling type thing. Another one was because there's another stupid one, because I didn't interfere in there was a bunch of people in the back of the 67 once who were having a grand old time, laughing, and I don't know what they had no idea what they were talking about, but they were pretty loud and they were laughing loud. And some woman came up and said, well, "You need to do something about that." And I looked at her and I said, "Why? I mean, are they bothering you?" "Well, it's just so loud." And I said, "Well, it's really not that bad," and it really wasn't that bad from my point of view. And she found that I was, you know, I didn't take care of the situation. Now, what was the other ones? The other ones were missing. I had a couple that weren't even me. So I don't even, the ones that weren't me, I didn't even pay attention to, because they had the wrong operator, you know. They can't even figure out which operator to route these things to. So yeah, I've never really had any, really. And I don't, you know, I'm pretty laid back. I'm really laid back, as a matter of fact. It'd be hard to get me excited. The only time that I do anything at all is when people are annoying, creating a ruckus back there. Oh, I had two, yeah, I did have two incidents where I actually did ask people to get off. Two inebriated gentlemen. They both left, no problem. And I actually was attacked once, but it was a joke. It wasn't like I suppose a lot of operators would have called it in as some kind of this is years ago too. The Native American man was so drunk, he was just so drunk. And I don't, when it comes to Native Americans on the bus, it's like they kind of have a free reign, because I feel like their whole life has been ruined basically by Europeans like myself. So I generally won't even call them on any kind of behavior. I don't see too many out here in Beaverton, but downtown, unfortunately, a lot of the Native Americans have alcohol-related problems. Anyway, this one guy, he got so mad at me. He actually tried to hit me. He actually swung at me, but it was, you know, he was so inebriated that he couldn't. I could catch the punch. I could literally catch it as he tried to hit me. So I don't count that as anything. And I actually escorted him, to be the word, off the bus and leaned him against the pole and left him there. I didn't call it. It's not a big deal. So no, I've never had any complaints of any significance. And so 15 years safe driving, no complaint. That's pretty good. You know, that's a good thing. And I might be annoying to the management because of my hobby here. You know, my job is turned into my hobby, basically. It really just turned into this hobby at this point. It's not even, I don't even look at it as a job. Although it can be testing at times. I've been lucky enough to get decent routes. And I know enough people out here on the west side, you know, that I always have somebody friendly to talk to. You know, it makes such a difference when you develop friendships out here in terms of the way you're going to do this job. I mean, I've got a lot of people that I know from the 67 and from 89, the 58, and when you have people that you like and you're riding your bus, it really makes the job a lot easier. You have somebody to talk to, interesting, sharing that time with people. Oh, look at that. See that? The sun is beautiful over there. That's quite an array of sunshine coming through. And there's a lot of good operators here. A lot of them I really enjoy hanging out with, you know. And so it makes the environment pretty good. I mean, for all the bitching and whining, it's pretty good here. You know, it's tiring, and the management gets tiring. Okay, they really do. The management used to be better. You know, when we had Peggy and Steve and Fred Hansen, there was a more progressive attitude about things, and that's all gone now. You know, this zero tolerance attitude now, including bus operators, not just passengers. And there are operators that do require a zero tolerance type of, they should be monitoring some of them. But the problem with this company is what ends up happening is they sweep everybody together. They put everybody in this bucket they developed. They will develop this bucket and they'll have all of us. It's just like what happened after Sandy Day. All of a sudden we're all safety threats. We were all going to run over people in an intersection. And so we're taking these courses, whatever the hell, and a lot of us are just like, this is bizarre. Why are we taking this? I mean, you can't teach me anything more. I mean, some of the concepts are great, but just like Tom said, Tom Hall, well, no, it was Jeff Posner. You do the job your way. It's not something that you can say, here's your template. Drive the bus according to this exact template, and this is how you do the job. That is not how you do this job. Everybody that does this job has a slightly different way of doing the job. You develop your own methods. And I've always said that the best bus driver, you can't teach it. It's something that you just learn. When you avoid accidents, it's something you know how to do because you don't let yourself get into that situation. You can see it coming, and above everything, you do not rush. That's the one thing you never find if you find yourself rushing, that's when the shit happens. And a lot of the pressure that's created on operators by our horrible scheduling department, which has no template. Every route is different. There's no template in terms of, well, we need a certain a level of safety before we will allow this route to be put out to operators. We need a certain amount of like run time and recovery time, but they don't do that. You see, they're not held to the standard of safety that operators are. The scheduling department has no safety standards. That's really an important point, really, to understand that while we are pressured constantly about our behavior here at TriMet, and the scheduling department has no expectations on them. They have absolutely not even one in terms of your routes must conform to these very basic criteria of running time and recovery time. They do not have that. One of the greatest flaws in the McFarland Safety Initiative is that it's only directed at operators and has no direction at management. And it's I see the fraud, and a lot of us operators see the fraud in that, and how they can just like direct it at us. I know that's what management does. They always point the shit down. Bureaucracies always create responsibility lower than whoever it is that's the bureaucrat in charge, because bureaucracies are famous. Government bureaucracies are famous for pointing blame down. And that's what's happened here at TriMet. They're pointing down at us rather than looking at their own lack of ability to formulate a reasonable schedule. They just point down, like, okay, we need our operators to attend a safety summit. And that's, that's not going to help if your equipment, if I can't see out of the windshield when I'm driving because it's old equipment, crappy windshield wipers, and it's not going to help if I'm in a rush because I'm trying to make a schedule.